Hey, hi, I'm Floyd Rosini, the journeyman's son. And today we're going to rub out the sample that we've been working on. The reason I like to rub it out right away, it's still in the process of shrinking down. All the solvents are evaporating off, and as it shrinks down, it gets closer and closer to the surface of the wood. And when you do the rub out, you put scratches in the finish, and so as it soaks down and the pores open up, those scratches disappear. You don't even see them anymore. It just, they're gone. That's why I like to rub it out right away within 24 hours of getting the last coat of finish on. Sometimes I'll wait a little longer. Sometimes you don't have a choice. But the sooner you rub it out, the better. That way you don't have that problem of rubbing it out and all your scratches are in the top and you have to spend a lot of time getting rid of your scratches. This way, with an open pore finish, you can, as it shrinks down, those scratches all dissipate. So I'm going to start rubbing it out, and I might not video the whole rub out because that's going to take a long time, and I just want you to see how it gets done the way I do it. Okay, so we'll get started right away. So when I rub out, the first thing I do is I start with the felt block and 320 paper. Whenever I do an open pore finish like this is, I use the 320 felt block. You can fold the paper in half. That way you got an edge to put your felt block against. Fold up the edge, and then I just start short stroking to get it rubbed. And I watch it. I look at you have to look at how far you're going down. You don't want to cut too deep, but you want to kill the shine. So that's what we're going to do. Always check your paper, make sure it's not clogging up, because it is brand new. It's a fresh finish. So you don't want to press down really hard. You want to give it kind of a medium pressure, not really hard. You want to always check the face of your paper, clean it off if you can, and then keep rubbing. It takes a lot to break that top film of the finish. So you want to make sure that you do break that and start getting some dust up. You can see the dust is coming up. This is where it starts to really get nice. You can see how the finish is going down. I'm just going to do about a third of it for you because it'll take too long. I'm going to change my paper now. I'm going to put a new face up here, and I'm going to dust this off so I can see just how far down I've gone and how dull it is. So get the fresh face on. I'm going to go down just a little bit more. Always watch the edges. You want to make sure that when you get to the edge, you don't let your block go over the edge, like on an angle. You want to make sure you keep it flat, and you want to make sure you don't hit it too hard that you cut the finish right off. Okay, now I get a fresh piece of paper and I do it by hand. And I like to fold the paper in three so that you get a few phases and you don't have a hard time with the paper curling up on it. Sometimes I fold it in half, sometimes in quarters. We're going to fold it in thirds today and give it a rub. Just going to keep an eye on it. You have to look closely at it and see where it's shining. And you want to get to those shiny spots, and you want to dull them out. You want to flatten that out a little bit and dull it out. It doesn't have to be absolutely flat, but you want it dull. You want to make sure you get all the shine out, because what we're going to do is we're going to wax it in the end. We want a wax luster, not this hard shine. Okay? So let's give it a little bit more with the paper here. We'll probably use this whole piece of paper on it for this third. Now I can fold the paper out, use the next face on the inside. When you do it by hand, again, you gotta be careful. Don't roll the edge so that you cut the finish right down to the raw wood. Usually I wear gloves when I do this. I forgot to put them on. It's rubbing out really nicely. I'm finding that it's moving along pretty well. You always check your paper. If it's clogged up, just move out. You can brush it off and you can save the paper if you want to. Just for the purposes of the video now, just for speed, I want to get the fresh face up so you can see how I get it done. Okay, so now you know that I've been short stroking it this whole way because you want to make sure you get the shine off. And sometimes you just have to do it short. Once you have it short stroked, then you want to go and do it the full length of the whole piece. For the purpose right now, I'm just going to go the full length of the third, and then when I do this later, we'll come back and you'll see it done. But this is how you want to make sure that you get it one stroke. And if I was doing it, I would be doing it all the way across. So you want to make sure one stroke. You want to get rid of all those scratches. You want to even them up that are down there. See that? That's nice. That looks really good. Okay, and then after this, we're going to get the steel wool, get the rest of the shine out. You want every bit of shine out. See, I'm standing right in front of it. That way I can really get a good rub, nice and straight. That looks good. Now I'm going to get the steel wool, and we'll finish up with the steel wool because we want to get the rest of the shine out. There's still a little bit of shine down in the pores. I want to get 99 and 44/100% of the shine out, okay? So again, I'm going to short stroke it because it's going to take those short strokes to get the rest of the shine out of there. Push the steel wool down in. Get a fresh face if you have to. And you'll see that it's coming up nice and dull, which is what you want for the wax finish to go on. And I'm really keeping an eye. You want to make sure that you get every bit of that shine out. All the shine has to come out. All of it. This is where the effort comes in when you're doing a rub out. It would be really easy to say, you know, let me just get a machine and I'm gonna rub it out with the machine. But you know, I prefer to do it by hand. I know I'm going to get a great job if I do it by hand. With the machine, I'm just not satisfied. So I do it by hand. Okay, I'm going a full length across now just to see where all the shine is left after doing this. Now there's some shine down in the pores that when the wax gets down there, it's going to dry down there and it's going to get dull. When you go to buff it, it's going to buff over the top of it and you won't see any of that, those shiny spots down in the deep pores. So I'm not going to worry too much about them. But on the flats, you want to make sure, you know, you have the grain running through and then you have the flat section. You want to make sure those flats are all dull, no shine left. Okay, I'm going to finish up the rest and then we'll come back and we'll wax it. So, the very thing we were trying to avoid happened. We put that heavier coat of urethane on, hoping that when we rubbed it out, there would be no cut through. Well, we got a cut through. I don't know if you can see it here. It's a light area right here. And so we have a real problem. And we're going to, instead of putting a fresh coat on the whole thing, we're going to repair it. You know, you have to know how to do the repairs when things happen. This is just one of those things that go on. Tear the cheesecloth so that we can use a small piece when we actually apply some finish, and we'll do that. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to touch up. I'm going to touch that spot up, and then we'll just put a thin coat right over it. Let it dry, give it a light steel wool, and then we'll wax it up. So let's touch it up. I use a rocket pad. And remember, I told you earlier, we use the raw umber, a little bit of green, and some French yellow ochre. to get this color. So we'll do a little touch up. We'll feather this in. Yeah, touch up is good. Now you have to be careful. You don't want to do the same color everywhere. So I mixed the color so it would match all the light areas of the wood, and then I'll come back, make the color a little bit darker, and then I'll go over the darker grained areas so that it blends in. And it doesn't look like, you know, just a stripe. Okay, so now I get a little bit more raw umber, make it a little darker so that when I touch up in the grain, it matches inside the grain. Takes a minute to do. You gotta be careful. You don't want to pour it on. You just want to really, this number 6 brush, it's so great. You clean off the sides and you flatten it out and you get a nice flat tip on it so you can make really perfect little grain lines. You want to always make little grain lines so it looks like part of the wood. And now you can't even tell. Touch-up is so much fun to do. Step back, take a look at it. Now it's hidden. Okay, so that's the first part. Now, I take the urethane. I don't need much. I just need a drop. Because we're just going to do a really, really, really thin coat right on top of that. To you know, cover it up, get the color to come up, and I'm not going to do just a spot. I'm going to come from the end and move in just past it, so that I can feather it in. So watch how I do this. I come in, I'll start above it, and I'll end below it. So just come in and feather it across it. And then I'll leave it, let it dry. Yeah, looks great. Looks fabulous. Okay, we'll let it dry. Then we'll come back, give it a light steel wool, and then we'll be set. We'll wax it. Let me give this light steel wool. It's going to just really lightly. I don't want to roll it. Roll it meaning roll the finish up. I just want to scuff it down so that it's dull like the rest. It's got that flat look to it. And I think that looks actually pretty good. Fortunately, this is our sample. And so now I would know that maybe I would put another coat of urethane on top of this so that I wouldn't have that happen. A finisher has to be able to really look over his job, evaluate every situation you get in or that he's going to get in. You have to know the process so that you can anticipate what will happen. And this happened. I was careful, but it happened. I cut a couple of edges as well. It happens, but you have to be able to know what to do after that. And you don't want to get defeated by it. So there are things that you can do, like we just did. Do a little touch-up, put a thin coat over the top, let it dry, and then continue on. And that's the way you do it. So I hope that that's really helpful to you, because it happens to everyone. You're not going to be alone. And I'd rather have you see the problems than me try to hide them from you. That's what you really want to learn. You want to learn how to fix the problems when they come up, because they come up all the time. And you're constantly solving problems. Okay? So let me get the wax, get all set up, and we'll do this. Hey, hi. Listen, I've decided that we should do a separate video for the waxing, because the repair and the touch-up took a little bit longer than I expected, and I like to try to keep my videos under 15 minutes. And so we're right at the 15-minute mark here, and we're going to do a separate video for the waxing. That way we can take the time and really explain it out, get some really good discussion, and finish it off that way. Okay? So the next video will be all waxing. Thanks.